Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's the brain of the mainframe here, Nile Scala, with the crew tonight, Mr. Teen Sensation, Billy Tucci, and the most amazing of Franks, Mr. Frank Amazing. Hi. What's up, fellas?
Hey.
What's up?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Just listen to the new theme song.
It
It
was made by a robot.
I'm Pophead.
What's up, Pophead?
Pophead, what up? It's Pophead now. Hey, everybody's Pop. It's Pophead.
What up, Pophead?
What up now?
What up, man?
What up?
Well, I gotta tell you, Pophead, Pophead says we've got a great slew, a trifecta or a quad of great guests today. We're leading up with our first one. He's a fine laddie too, isn't he?
Oh, a very fine lad.
Oh, he's a fine laddie.
Oh, can you find Pophead's gold?
Oh, Pophead. Oh, why are they always making fun of me when I say
Oh, my Pophead gold everywhere.
Oh, Pophead gold. It's Pophead.
You gotta get down low and get in the hole of the Pophead to get the gold.
Oh, look at Pophead sitting there. All right, now
that's horrible. That's horrible. Come back.
Okay.
Come back to
all right. Let's pop that Pophead and let's get the teen sensation on the screen.
Teen sensation Billy Tucci is here.
Yo, Billy, great cover I saw. Posted up, man.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I really like how it came out. And I got to tell you though, I mean, we didn't bring our guests on yet, but Nile, that old scanner, my old Epson 7220
does it right?
The old scanner is far more superior than the new 7520. 7720. The 7520 scanner, the older scanner, has a better scanner than the new 7720 scanner.
Really? You should call Epson about that. Maybe it's a setting.
That's why I wonder if it is a setting because you can't do grayscale.
You can do grayscale. It's got to be a setting.
It's got to be a setting. I was looking.
Got to be a setting, dude.
I was looking.
Well, it's got to be a setting. But let's click this setting, right? Let's click this setting. A little something to do with Outlaw Nights. Ooh. Genesis of a renegade. Maybe a creator of sorts is going to be popping in. Yeah. Let's create the setting. Here's the setting. What's up, Fusebox?
Fusebox?
What's up? What is up, gentlemen?
Not too much, my friend. Thank you for coming on the show.
Oh, well, thank y'all for having me on.
It's fantastic. So, dude, you got to tell us about yourself, man. This is my first time chatting with you. I believe it's the same for Mr. Frank Amazing and Mr. Tucci. So, Fusebox, give us your origin story.
Yes. Give us the scoop, Holmes.
Well, I'm a 30-year-old writer from New Orleans, Louisiana.
Ooh, Cajun. The Raging Cajun is on the show with us tonight.
Oh, yeah. And, and mostly, I'm mostly a screenwriter, but in recent years, I was inspired by independent comics, and I've decided to try my hand at writing a comic book series.
Nice. Very nice. Very nice. So let me ask you a question, because we've had so many creators come on the show that have, a background in film, screenwriting, all that stuff. Is that something you went to school for?
Oh, yeah. I went to film school for about, I think I went for like 6 years.
Oh,
wow. But yeah, this comic idea kind of started off as a screenplay idea. And as I got older and started getting more realistic in my thinking, I'm like, I might not want to bank on a possible one day, maybe multi-million-dollar production, Yeah.
Awesome. So did any of your screenwriting work ever get taken? Did you have anything pop up for you?
I never really tried to sell any scripts. I tried to film a couple of scripts, and we managed to do a short.
Oh, that's cool.
Called BS Before Social Media.
Oh, cool.
And it's on YouTube somewhere. And but this is really my first try at making my writing go public, I guess is the best way I can put that.
So
don't
now
you
you
love
have...
it when writers? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just saying, don't you love it when writers can't come up with the right phrases to say things?
Well, this isn't. You're right. You write. You don't talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Your writing is different.
Except for the voices inside your head, Billy.
What?
except for the voices inside your head.
I know.
They talk a lot. But Ben, let me ask you. Now you went from film, going into this, let's say, a dream of doing the film, the screenwriting, all that stuff, and then you said you transitioned that thought process to independent comics. But what about independent comics actually captured you?
Well, I've always been a casual comic fan. I wasn't really much of a collector or anything like that, but I enjoyed comics growing up. And so it really wasn't that difficult. But it was watching a lot of YouTubers really, and seeing how independent comics has been growing that I was thinking, well, I'd like to write a comic. And I went back to Outlaw Nights because that's an idea that I've just been playing around with for so long that I was like, it's time to get this story out there. And everything just kind of fell into place.
Now, you have 2 past campaigns. Now, is all of it within this storyline?
Yeah. Well, I think the thing says I have 2 past campaigns.
Or this is your second, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was I tried to fund Outlaw Nights last year, but I guess I was thinking to myself like, oh, I'll just advertise on Twitter like every single day, and that really didn't do much in terms of
yeah.
So I finally started taking everybody's advice, and I started getting myself out on YouTube, and that has made all the difference in the world.
That's awesome. Now, when did this start, though? When did you actually gravitate to? Was it like a year ago, 2 years ago?
About 2 years ago.
Okay. Now, the independent creators that you were seeing out there, who was one of the first that actually made you think, oh, maybe this is a direction I want to go in?
It was honestly, it was EVS. He was talking up Comicsgate, and this was early on when I started watching him. This was when he was still talking about The Last Jedi and stuff.
Yeah.
And that was what first drew me to his channel, because that movie just was so abominable for me.
Yeah, we're all Star Trek fans. It's okay.
Yeah, we love the Star Trek.
We love the Star Trek. It's so great.
But
Jedi
it was
Star Trek.
It was around that time he started talking about what was going on in comics, and I got a glimpse of some modern day comics, what the writing was like, and I've always been a little insecure about my writing at times, like, oh, I wonder how I measure up. But then when I read some of modern comics, I was like, oh yeah. So there's no standard, okay, So I was like, well, I gotta try to contribute something to this, And it's, I haven't regretted it at all since.
Now as a writer, and you're used to writing screenplays, I don't know if you use Final Draft or whatever to write your screenplays.
Yep.
But how difficult was the transition to writing a script for a graphic novel for a comic book as compared to a screenplay? And what program do you use?
Oh, I do use Final Draft. So
even for the comics, huh? Oh, that's yeah.
Yeah, they definitely they give you the template right off the bat. So that was pretty easy to follow. It was just a matter of simplifying the ideas down enough to where everything could be told through one panel each,
Yeah. Now, do you use say like a lot of screenwriting programs, you have your action line or your header line? Do you use like your header line to be your page? Like exterior house night. Would that be your page 1 or something? Like, how do you because Final Draft doesn't have for comic pages, right? It's still screenplay, right?
Oh, it has a comic option.
Oh, it does. Oh,
yeah.
Cool. Oh, I didn't see. No one told us that.
Yeah, you go into the main menu. There should be a template section, and it has comic. It has regular comics, and it also has like Dark Horse comic format. It has like all kinds of stuff.
Oh wow! I didn't know that. I had no clue that had that.
No clue too about that.
Huh.
So really, yeah, the program helped walk me through that transition.
And how easy or how difficult was it?
I would say it was fairly easy. There were a couple of moments I got a little tripped up, but it laid out the format pretty easy to read. You just have your scene description, and then right below that you put your dialogue and everything. It wasn't a big deal to me.
Nice. Hey, now let me ask you. So we've had a lot of great like independent creators on our show from all different ends of the world. I know you consider yourself a Comicsgate creator. If you don't mind me asking, what made you gravitate towards that group for creators?
Well, they were the ones really talking about the issues of quality that were most paramount for me. And unlike a lot of other groups out there that I've seen where they'll complain about pop culture and then just not doing anything about it, they were like, well, no, we're going to step up and we're going to offer our own product. And I respect that attitude, because it's one thing to be just an armchair quarterback. It's another to go out there and do what you want to be, what you want to read, you make it yourself.
Yeah, excellent. And what were you seeing out in like the mainstream? Because as a casual comic creator, what was it for you that you're like, I'm not liking what I'm seeing out there on the shelves?
Really, a lot of that was just, dumbing stories down to where everything is so one-dimensional. Making every comic sort of this new age progressivist morality play. Instead of just trying to tell a compelling story or weaving those messages into a compelling story, it's always just this right on the nose, the character archetypes, you can exchange one main character for another and you wouldn't really have that much of a difference.
Yeah.
It just seemed like everything was just been kind of dumbing down and getting more and more agenda driven.
Less action, less escapism and stuff.
A
Exactly.
lot of those books have, a lot of those, the ones like you said, the either they're agenda driven books. A lot of them don't have any action at all.
Yeah.
Seeing they're kind of just like people standing around. I mean, they're also terribly boring.
Half the book is people sitting at a table, like
or the half the book it seems, and then they're walking in the park. Because I did one of my friends, and you buy things for friends and you support it, and I know that they're kind of an activist, if you will, and really cool person, a friend of mine for a year, 25 years or so. So I bought their Kickstarter, and I'm like, oh boy, this is terrible. There's no action, there's nothing, there's no guns in it. What the heck? Like the stuff I like, nobody getting punched in the face. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, especially with comics being like, a visual medium, it's like you want spectacle, you want flair, and it's like if you want two people just sitting down talking, you can just stick two people in front of a camera, like
yeah, exactly. It's just like a lot of books have like it was almost like a conversation piece. You're like, well, where's the action? Where is this character? Where's that character? What are they doing? I definitely commend a lot of creators that are really trying to get, creators like yourself. They're just like, hey, let's bring fun back into comics.
Yeah.
And it's cool because, you've got independent creators in the Comicsgate world. You've got independent creators outside of the Comicsgate realm. And we are starting to see some mainstream creators that are kind of like, yeah, we got to get back to the escapism, the action, there's nothing wrong with, superheroes that look like superheroes, right?
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. It's exaggerated. It's fun.
We got to talk. We have to maybe tomorrow we do our show about the Captain America thing, like the article on CBR. I know
Lord.
At it,
yeah. But anyway, I mean, enough about that. You're an independent creator. You're following. You're following a great path in creating your own stuff, creating your own worlds, places that you hope others will lose themselves in, and gravitate towards your characters and believe that the worlds you're creating exist. And I think we should get into that. And let's take a look at Outlaw Nights, Genesis of a Renegade.
Already.
Boom.
Beautiful. So you, my friend, this is an Indiegogo campaign. You currently your second campaign. You're halfway funded. You have 5 days left, but you are going to extend it, which is great. I always recommend that. Just keep that thing going and keep pushing and pushing and pushing. But first, before we get into talking about the book, if you don't mind, I just love playing these videos. We're going to play your campaign video.
Sure.
If it will play. Dude, art is sick.
Oh yeah.
That art is sick.
Art
So
is-
this is a space series, out in space. Tell us about this, to give us the lowdown on Outlaw Nights.
Well, Genesis of a Renegade is going to be the first of hopefully about 6 issues, though it may end up being more like 8 or 9 because, as the video showed, unfortunately, when I launched this campaign, I had no choice but to cut the book in half in order to make the goal reasonable.
Yep.
And I really hated having to do that because, I just wanted the full 50 pages. But essentially, one of our stretch goals, if we can hit about 10K, we're going to bring it back to a full 50 pages. And I'm really hoping we get to that. But in essence, I like to get that out of the way first, In essence, Outlaw Nights, Genesis of a Renegade starts us off. We are in the 31st century. Humanity has begun colonizing into outer space. It's not as advanced, though, as you would think of like a Star Wars or a Star Trek. It's very much a new frontier, discovery of the new world 2.0, if you will.
So it's a near future story more.
Yeah. Yeah, and the nations of Earth are all at each other's throats, competing over territory and resources. And it's a very chaotic time period. Our main character, who you just scrolled up on, actually, right there, is Cyrus Lawson, who is he's had a very traumatic upbringing, and so he's trying to get away from it all. He doesn't want any part of his time, so he is on a small, out-of-the-way settlement known as Therese, and he's there to sort of enact small-town justice because he's very naive and he's got a heroic spirit about him. But he doesn't want, too much complication of the big city. But in essence, our main character's dreams are very short-lived because the pirate crew of Hazard are invading the settlement, looking for a special piece of data that is going to lead to a treasure that will turn the entire century on its ass.
Nice.
And so push comes to shove, without giving much away. Cyrus is kidnapped by these pirates. So Cyrus is going to have to overcome his own hatred and prejudice of pirates and redefine his very black and white sense.
So, who's your artist? Because he or she are fantastic.
Oh yeah, our artist is Render Contender, who you may have heard of. He has done work on John Malin's Graveyard Shift Volume 2.
Oh wow.
And he's also done some work for RT Bear's Chrono Mechanics.
Nice.
Oh, very nice.
Great, dude. He is great. Now, where yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Oh, I was just saying, and our colorist also, Press Colors, he operates out of India, and he is phenomenal. Like the depth he adds to all these shots, I've never seen anything like it.
It's beautiful. Now, how did you come up? And this is something good for other art, like we have writers, like we have people that tune in, and maybe writers like yourself, and maybe they're not an artist. How did you go about finding your art team?
Really,
job at it.
Honestly, it was just from networking on Twitter. I was doing the CG talent search and all this stuff, and I was just looking at different artists' Twitter profiles, and I saw Render's sample work, and I was just like, oh man, that is sexy artwork. I need that for Outlaw Nights. And I emailed him one day and I messaged him, and he got back to me, and I sent him my script and he really liked it. And he said he'd been looking for a sci-fi script to play around with. So everything clicked into place.
That's awesome. So how did the Outlaw Nights come to be? Did it start off as something you were writing like years ago and then transitioned it? Or was this a completely new idea that you came up with for comics?
The initial idea for the story was something I was planning way back, but it was always sort of in the back of my mind, sort of oh, this will be awesome for me to do someday kind of story. And then as I got older, and I realized, I wanted to tell a comic book story, and I'm like, well, and I was actually trying to think of a different story at first. And then as I was thinking, I'm like, well, you know what? I've got Outlaw Nights, and I haven't done anything with it. Why not use this? And honestly, reworking the story for the comic and kind of changing a few things up, I think it works better as a comic than as something else.
Now, let me ask you, for a writer, okay, and for writers out there that are going to be watching this, how did you go about your character design? Did you give a written description to your artist? Did you talk it over with them over the phone? Or did you actually sketch something up yourself?
I actually gave written descriptions for most of the characters. There's a few characters that I left kind of open, and that was sort of an area where I figured Render might want to play around with. Because I think it's good to let your artist have some creative input and stuff. But essentially for the main cast, though, I had very vivid idea of what I wanted them to look like, so I gave very detailed descriptions in the script.
Okay. Now, how long did it take for you to develop the image of your characters? Did it go through multiple designs, or was he kind of nailing what you wanted pretty quick?
He nailed it pretty quick. I sent a couple of pages back to him a couple of times just to alter a couple of things, but he pretty much got it, I mean, some of the descriptions were pretty easy to follow, like my one for Ivory, who's the guy with that cybernetic eye. Yeah, for him, I was just like, muscular Hispanic Jesus, with a cybernetic eye.
That's a great description.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's awesome. So let me ask you a really important question. Why should the comic book buyers out there back Outlaw Nights?
Ooh, Scala, that is challenging.
Well, aside from our amazing artwork, this is very much a character-driven story, but it is also incorporates the classic elements of comics that we've all loved and that we've all been missing. This is very much an action comic book. It's one action to another, very little downtime in between. And in terms of the overall arcing story, it captures the fun of pirate stories and heist stories, as well as great world building, and and great messages, I would say.
That's
Nice.
what we like to hear.
Yeah.
You know, like he said, he did all the right things. You know, fun book action. You know, give the people what they want. This is what people are dying for. Escapism.
Yep.
You know, I mean, and you, as you know, being on Twitter and being a now, what are you? You a Generation Z? What are you, a millennial?
I think I am a millennial. I'm 30.
You're a millennial. Yeah, 30.
Everyone's younger than Billy, so
I try not to act like
Frank. Thank you.
No, but looks great, man. This book looks great. It sounds fun. You know, I think this is a good story, a series that you're developing here. I love the space operas, man. I love anything to do with the unknown of our universe, because it's like, you know, you can always like write your stories, you know, on things happening on planet Earth or whatnot, but really like the universe, anything can happen, right? Because we have no clue what's out there for the different life. We have no clue really of much out there. It's completely up to our imagination, which makes it seem real. It can happen. It's the expanse of the universe, you know. So I love what you're doing. Definitely keep this up. Keep us posted on what you have going on. And when do you plan, once this is all fully funded, you're good to go, when are you hoping to have this in the hands of your backers?
Well, I put our delivery date as March 2021 because we're still working on the book. Part of the reason we had to make our goals so big was because we need to fund it. But essentially, I'm hoping to release it much sooner than that.
Awesome.
I set that as a safety marker, you know, because I know that a lot of people have had issues with late books and stuff, and I want to reduce as many complications as I can.
Yeah, no, that's the goal
that's
to
smart.
have.
That's really smart, because then you give people stuff before, you know what I mean? They're pleasantly surprised when the book comes in early.
Amen.
Say
Exactly.
we shipped early, and then you set it for the next campaign.
Exactly. So, man, good luck to you. Keep us in the loop. Thanks for sharing your project with us tonight.
It looks great.
We know you'll hit that goal. It looks great. I hope you post more as you get funded. I hope, you know, when you do like your updates, maybe you'll tease a little more of the pages or some line work. But I'm looking forward to this. Definitely something I'm going to back myself. Because like I said, I love my space operas, dude, and I like what you have going on here, and I definitely want to check it out. Which means, though, when it does come, it will be reviewed. So it better be good, chump. No, I know it's going to be awesome, dude. I appreciate it. And we'll keep sharing it through our channels. We'll, periodically share it through our Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and we'll do whatever we can to help out fellow independent creators.
Oh, thank you so much, guys. I appreciate the heck out of it.
All right, everyone. So make sure if you can do the same, head on over to Indiegogo. Check out Outlaw Nights, Genesis of a Renegade, currently at 51% funded. Let's get this to 100% funded.
Yeah.
If it's something you can't back right now, you know the next best thing to do is always share. Maybe you'll get them one back, or maybe you'll get them 20. But you're supporting the independent arts, the independent creators that are trying to bring us the stuff that we're drooling for, that we want. So again, Fuse Box, keep it up, keep it going, and keep us in the loop, brother. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much, guys.
The book looks and sounds great, buddy. Sounds great.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the heck out of that.
All right, man. Have a great night. Thanks for coming on.
All right, guys.
All right, man. That thing looks awesome. I love it. You want to win me over? Give me a good space saga.
Yeah, it really does look great.
Or Ninja Turtles. I like Ninja Turtles.
All right, I'm going to go get a sketch cover. Hang on.
All right, you get a sketch cover.
All
because, ladies and gentlemen, we have another amazing independent creator tonight. His name is Justice Wright. He has an awesome book, The Ultimate Crusaders, with amazing art. When this was first presented to myself and Billy, I believe Frank sent the info over to us. We're like, wow, this is amazing. And I actually said, you know, this art's reminds me of something of like R.T. Bear's work and stuff, you know, just great illustrations. So while Billy's away, we're gonna play, right? So let's bring in our next guest, Mr. Justice Wright. Justice, how you doing tonight, man?
Doing all right. How about y'all?
I'm doing really good, man. And we're so happy you're on the show, dude.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Oh, hey, it's good to be on.
So, man, tell us a little bit about yourself. This is my first time chatting with you, talking with you. You know, give me your origin story, man. Tell me about, you know, your love of comics, how all this came to be, that you have this awesome campaign going on right now on Indiegogo.
Well, basically, I've been watching a lot of cartoons and reading comics for my whole life, and something that I really noticed when I was a kid that I don't really see now is that you had a lot of action shows from the 90s and the early 2000s that I really loved, like as a kid. One of my favorites was mostly Batman. I used to watch a lot of those comics and cartoons as a kid, and that really stuck with me. And one of the things that I didn't really like was because that didn't really stick with the modern era. And so what I want to do with this comic is basically bring back what I used to love as a kid and put it in the scene in the comic book. So it's basically a cartoon and a comic book all in one. That's what I wanted to get with this. So,
Well, I definitely see that, and the artwork's beautiful. Now, is this something you drew?
Oh no, this is from my artist that I'm working with. His name is Dominic Ozarin Omaruk. I hope I spelled that name right. His last name is kind of long. But,
I love it.
Look at this here, guys. I mean, this artwork is beautiful.
Yeah,
what I'm going to do, I'm going to play the video for everyone so they can get an idea of what this amazing book's about.
oh shit. Okay. Hello everyone, my name is Justice Wright and I'm the creator of the Ultimate Crusaders comic book. The Ultimate Crusaders is a culmination of the early 2000s cartoons and comics, where you had these extremely wild and imaginative ideas that varied in style, while also having some of them delve deep into spiritual and psychological themes and visuals. With that in mind, I wanted to make something similar that focused on an unorthodox action-adventure, but with the secret mystery that explores the unknown in our inner selves. The main character, Orion Williams, is a sheltered, antisocial genius that's obsessed with finding out what happened to his father, who was lost in space due to an accident. And because of this, he's become unwilling to socialize or deal with anything or anyone his age, besides his best friend Claire Rosemary. And Claire, she's more open-minded and sociable than Orion, but the reason she hangs out with him is that she feels more open to express herself in the hobbies around him, rather than other kids or her parents who find their hobbies as a tinkerer strange and worthless. So he put these kids into a scenario where they discover this powerful artifact on Earth, and they suddenly become prime targets to this alien race known as the Blacken, who wiped out hundreds of planets across the galaxy with it. And now, the only way they can survive is to use their gifts against them, while also tagging along with survivors of the destroyed planets who call themselves the Ultimate Crusaders. This will be an ongoing series, with the first issue being a 36-page introduction to the characters and the overall story to come. We'll also be offering some stretch goals as well, so be sure to check those out in the description. I hope you consider supporting us in the Ultimate Crusaders and more series to come after. Thank you.
Wow.
Dude, that art is sick.
Wow. How many comic books have you done?
Me and my artist, this is our first real comic book. We've been writing and drawing for our whole lives, but this is the first big project of ours, so really putting our all on this. So
I'm just going to tell you something right now. Visually, this can compete with the best of them.
Oh yeah,
tell you that right now. And you know, that's not just a compliment for your artist, that's a compliment for you because it's your visions, right? You know, what you're seeing on there isn't just someone's hand, that's what you are coming up with, right, in your mind and as you're writing, and he's going off of that. And incredible, absolutely incredible. I'm blown away by this work.
Yeah, I love it. It's such an original style too. You know, 'cause I'm a Justice. I'm a more traditionalists, I guess, artists, and I
Mhm.
love people that have that animation touch to their art. It's so alive and it's moving. I mean, look at the action. Look at this, the right there with the dude getting thrown. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The facial expressions and all, and damn.
Yeah, like I said, I want to make something that was more on like a cartoon inside of a comic book. And what I want to get really down is I want it to make like it feel like it's actually moving inside of the comic book, something that you can actually think you can tune into, something like that, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
But,
it flows. It flows like it flows like like you're watching it. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's something that I really wanted to get through in the comic. And my artist, he really did a really good job with that. I was really surprised at first. I thought he wasn't going to do a very good job of it because I didn't really know him that much. But when he showed me those first few pages, I was like, wow, this is even better than I imagined. So it really worked out really good.
Oh, yeah.
Now, you said that it came out great, not really good, man. It came out great.
Yeah.
I love, again, I'm like Billy. I love the whole stylized look, the artists having really their own feel and look to things. Now, I just want to real quick. Now, you said that you and your artist have been working together for a long time. So is this someone you grew up with?
Oh, no, it's actually somebody I've been working with for about a year or so right now.
Oh, okay.
And we've been getting to know each other for a little bit. And as we've been working on this, we've been actually thinking this is something that we can really do. And once I pictured the idea of Indiegogo, and he said, yeah, we should really do that. So
who's your artist? What's his name?
So his name is Dominic Ozarin Omaruk. He's a Nigerian artist, and so I looked him up online and stuff. And
wait, so how do you? Okay, we were just talking with our last guest too about that. Now, how did you go about? How did you find him?
Well, actually, when I was looking for artists on the comic, I originally had another artist, and his equipment broke, and so I had to come up with an artist really fast. And out of the blue, I found him on Facebook, I think. And when I asked him to do something, I looked at his work, and his work seemed all right. And when I asked him to do a few pages for me, he actually went out loud with it. And when I looked at it for the first time, I was just like, I didn't know he could do all this. So, so I just asked him to do some more of it, and he just went boom, boom, boom. He just went all out on it. And so I just thought this was a perfect fit. And
how long did it take to write the script for this book?
I think I've been working on this script for about a year or 2 years, I think.
Okay.
It was a lot of rewrites and stuff like that. So
now, Justice, what's your background? Did you go to school for writing? Do you just like to write? You know what I mean? How did you get to this point? Like, yeah, I am going to do a comic book. I've never done one before, because this does not look like a first-time comic book.
Not at all.
Well, actually, I got into college as a graphic designer, and one of the things I learned in there is composition and all the stuff like that you need to learn to make something look good. Yeah. And so I kind of learned the ins and outs on how to make something appealing to people, and that's something that I use to work on the comic book itself. And when I was working with my artist, I actually gave him some pointers on how to make something look more appealing, and he thought those were really good to work off of. And we just went from there. And actually, the reason that I started writing was because of my dad. He's been a writer himself, and he actually gave me some pointers on what to and what not to do on writing. And he's been telling me that for about all my life, and I really took that to heart. And once I started writing myself, I started writing and rewriting and writing a lot of fictions. And one thing that I actually wanted to do is write my own cartoon. And that's I didn't actually think I could get there, but one of the things I actually wanted to do outside of that was comic books, because I've been reading that for a long time too. And I just took that idea and then put it inside of a comic book and thought that, wow, this is really something that I can really do. And this is how this started. So
It's gorgeous, man.
He's very
it's gorgeous.
Right, Frank. We say, Justice, you have to be like our calmest guest we've ever had and you're like, yeah, and his art came in, and I liked it and all. And if I hired an artist and he brought art like that to it, I would be calling every single person I know. So you got to see this new artist I got, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, yeah, he did a good job. I mean, I don't know if you realize how good this book is. Right now? I mean,
some people like it. Yeah.
I mean, this is I'm telling you, like this on a book, like if I saw this on a bookshelf at a comic shop, I would grab it. I would go off this. Now, did he do both of the covers?
Oh, I know. My artist didn't do any of the covers actually. I asked a few other people to do the covers for me. So this cover that you have on right now, it was from a guy named Ed Jimenez. He works for Alternate Comics actually.
Oh, okay,
and
yeah.
I looked him up on there, and
then this one up here, I love this.
Yeah, that's cool.
And this one, it was made by a guy named Dominic Serena. I actually saw him on Facebook too. And one thing I really liked about his art, it was really stylized. And he really did a unique take on it, and a lot of the colors and stuff that I really liked on it, and it really fit with the story that I'm telling. So with that mysterious and spiritual story. So he really did a good job with that.
Yeah, the design is flawless.
Now, did you do the logo?
Oh yeah, the logo is mine. I made that myself.
So I see this symbol here with the crosshairs. Does that fall into the story?
Oh yes, actually the logo there is supposed to be a symbol for the Ultimate Crusaders. The Ultimate Crusaders is actually a group of aliens who's had their worlds destroyed by the Blackened that you saw in the trailer. And once they have their worlds destroyed, they basically band together and try to figure out how to push back against the Blackened and save their universe against them. And so that's their basic sigil that I created for them.
Mm-hmm. And which character do we have here?
Oh, this one is Orion Williams. He's the scientist and the genius.
So tell us a little more about him.
Yeah.
Well, it's basically what I say in the trailer. He's really anti-social. He's really self-centered. He doesn't really talk to anybody. He doesn't really socialize with anybody. He thinks he's better than us, and that's why he doesn't really communicate with anyone besides his family and stuff like that. And this is part of the story, once his father basically got lost in space a few years ago before he went to school, he's been basically obsessed with finding him to the point where he stays in his room all the time, inventing stuff, trying to figure out how to go to space and find out what happened to him, because he doesn't really believe that he died. And so...
Oh, he believes his father's alive.
Oh, yeah. It has a lot to do with that, the story.
Is he alive? Is he alive? Or is that giving it away?
Oh, you can't say. I'll stop.
I know. I want to know more. Let's dive into this. Let's get into a little bit of the meat and potatoes of this. Tell us a little more about the story, or better yet, really, where is this going to go after this Indiegogo? Will this carry on?
Well, basically, I want to do something similar to Star Wars, where it goes into similar arcs, multiple arcs across an ongoing series. And I wanted to make something that had something kind of like the prequels, but a little bit more in depth. I don't want to say better because I don't want talk down on them, but I just wanted to make something that was kind of like a corporate thing, something like a corporate organization doing illegal things to multiple planets that ended up creating the bad guy, created the villain, and basically that comes back to haunt them. And now this group has to deal with this threat that's become of a corporate greed. So
now, what would you do if like Netflix or someone came and said, "Hey, we love your book. We want to adapt this to an animated series"?
Well, first of all, I probably wouldn't believe it, but if it came down to that, I'd be more than happy to make something for them. And it's been my dream to do something like that, actually. So I'd be more than happy to do something like that. And since this was actually made to be something as a cartoon, it probably fit up perfectly for that.
Mm-hmm. Now, what's the age? Like, what's the reader demographic you're going for? This like age group.
I would say it's more of a PG-13 kind of story. It's more kid friendly than Star Wars, but it does have some serious moments in there. So I want to keep it along the lines of the PG-13 type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Now, besides like Star Wars, I mean, what really inspired you to create this story? Or what else inspired you, I should say?
I'd say some of the cartoons that I grew up with, kind of like Codename Kids Next Door, if you heard anything like that, and Gundam, and Samurai Jack, with a lot of spiritual stuff like that. And I'd say mostly Samurai Jack because a lot of the themes and stories that I saw in there really stuck with me as a kid, and I wanted to put something like that had a lot of spiritual and really meaningful storytelling, and something that people can learn from, like kids and other people can learn from and stuff like that. And that's probably one of the main focuses that I want to put in here. So aside from the story, I just want people to learn things, want people to learn from stories and stuff like that. So
very cool, man. Now, what made you choose Indiegogo over Kickstarter?
Basically, after I saw a lot of content creators going to Indiegogo for a lot of comic books, I just thought that Indiegogo was a little bit friendlier when it came to comic books. So I just thought that was a better alternative to Kickstarter, since a lot of people go over there and it's kind of saturated with a lot of stuff. I thought my comic would get buried there. And since Indiegogo isn't as big and its audience is getting a bit bigger now, I thought it'd be a pretty good fit for that.
Very cool. Now I'm going to ask you the same question. Why should all the consumers out there back this book?
Basically, I wanted to get the idea down that of the question that if people can accept their faults and set aside their ego and discover the inner self to say they can save the universe, they can do whatever they want, they can discover the best of themselves. So that's basically the theme of the whole comic. Can a person set aside their ego? Can a person set aside their own differences in order to find the best of themselves to be a better person? And so I wanted to get this book out there for someone to basically learn those lessons, learn all of that stuff to be a best person of themselves. So
that's a great answer.
Awesome, man.
That's
a good message, man. That makes me want to back it, bro. And I will back this book because I'm in love with it. I'm in love with it, Justice. I love the art. I love the story. If I'm telling you, if you guys are into that, the animation style, the action, another good escapism right there. I'm really looking forward to seeing this book. When do you plan on having this in the hands of backers? Once you're funded, what's the goal?
If it gets funded, we'll probably strive to the goal of getting it out on October of this year. So we're going to set the deadline, get all of it ready, and hopefully if everything goes good, we can get out in October and quickly get ready for the next one, just like that. So
just awesome. Like that.
Awesome. Now, how far along is the book?
The script is finished and a lot of the art is finished. We just still need to do a lot more pages. It's 36 pages right now. We got about 7 or 8 pages done, and we really need to just get it funded and get all those pages done. And we've got it all laid out and stuff like that. So all we need to do is get it funded, and we'll be ready to go.
That's great. So let me ask you. You said your dad was a writer. He's worked with you over the years, an inspiration to you. I mean, he's got to be proud of what you've put together and what you have on Indiegogo right now.
Oh yeah, he's actually saw what I've been doing. He was really surprised that I actually listened to him, because he doesn't really think I've been listening to him. But yeah, he took that to heart. He was really proud of me for doing that. And once he said that, I just stuck it with me. Down. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do this. I'm just gonna get it there. If I don't get it this time, I'm gonna get it next time. So
good, man. Has he been like, hey, hey son, should I work on a comic? Is he a comic fan?
He's a little bit of comic book fan, but he's more of a movie and just a regular book fan. He's more of the lines of Star Trek and Dracula and stuff like that. So he doesn't really look at comic books, but he's a really big reader. So
awesome. You know what I didn't ask, and I wanted to ask you this when we were kind of talking more of your origin of things. How old were you when you started reading comics, and what were you reading?
I think I started when I was in high school, when I was like 15 or 16.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the first books that I actually read was Scott Snyder's Batman. I think that was the first one. And I've also read a bit of Wolverine and stuff like that, and Spider-Man. And one of the books that I actually read was Akira, the manga. And one of the things that stuck with me with that is his art style, because the art style in that book was really interesting. And look, one of the lines like an anime inside of a comic book, and this was one of the other inspirations that I had with this book. So
awesome.
Just took inspiration from that.
Well, I have to say, man, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your book with us. It's absolutely gorgeous. I think you guys are going to do very, very well with this. Keep hitting other channels. Get out there, spread the word. I mean, have you been doing any other podcasts or YouTube channels?
Oh yeah, actually, I've been on John Mallon's stream yesterday, and I've been on a lot of other streams lately. And so,
Nice.
I have a few more interviews after this one, actually, in next month, I think.
Yeah.
So I've been really pushing to get it out there.
Company with a guy like John, he'll reach a great audience.
Yeah.
For a lot of people that are curious about how you find artists. Now, you said you want a particular page that look that's like writer seeking artists. Is there a comic page of art? How did you find your artists through Facebook?
Well, when I first did it, I was looking at connecting comic book writers and artists, and one of the groups that had the same name like that. And when I was scrolling through that, I saw a lot of these artists, and one of the artists that I found on there was an artist that I'm working with now. And once I saw his art on there, I just thought that he might be a good fit for the comic book. And when I worked with him and stuff like that, I was really surprised that it went as good as it did. So
Yeah.
it was really good turn of events when you think about it. So
It's like meant to be, bro. It is. I mean, beautiful.
oh, thank you.
All right, man. Well, hey, everyone out there, like we say, check this book out, back it if you love it. If it's not something you can back currently at the time, make sure to share it. Just help keep spreading the word. Justice has just the Ultimate Crusaders. It's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. The samples that you read in the campaign itself can definitely show that this is well written. So get in there, check it out. I hope in your updates you show some more samples of pages and maybe some of the writing, Justice. This looks great. I'm definitely backing this, and I encourage others to do the same. If you love just that good, great kind of that 90s influenced cartoon style. And dude, this is great. I love it.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Fantastic. And thanks for coming on the show and sharing this with us. And we'll continue to spread the word of your book through our channel as well. We'll periodically be sharing it on our Twitter, our Instagram, and our Facebook. So, Justice, thanks again for coming on, man. And can't wait to have you on for your next book.
All right. It's great to be here. And I hope to be here on my next book too. So thank you for that.
All right. Have yourself a great night. Thank you.
Great to meet you, sir.
Bye, Justice.
All right. I'll see y'all later.
Hi.
All right. Bye-bye.
What was that reverb?
I didn't hear any reverb.
I was hearing it big time.
You hear
Were you
big
really?
time too? Yeah, I hear it big time.
Yeah.
I don't hear anything.
Yeah, it was like Mexican radio reverb.
Yeah, it's
How long?
Probably about. I honestly checked my microphone
it's when you
because it was like
joined in, it started.
right before I came on. I think.
Oh.
Yeah, I noticed it when you joined in.
Is it still there?
Phone.
I didn't hear anything.
I think maybe it's come. Okay, this is weird, but maybe it's coming off of Billy.
Do you hear it?
I hear it, but I didn't hear it until Jeff came in. That's why I popped him off.
I hear nothing. The reverb is still there. I think it might be JC. So hang on 1 second.
Well, I turned my mic on.
Is the reverb still there here, remember?
No, there's no reverb.
No reverb?
Try it. Let it talk now.
All right.
Yeah, Jeff.
How about now?
It's a miracle.
It's gone, right?
It's gone. Oh,
It's back.
it's back.
It's Billy.
It's Billy. It's usually always Bill. It's usually Billy that brings the echo.
Try it now.
Billy brings the echo.
Billy brings the echo.
Now
That'd be a
you
great
hear
name for an
Well,
episode.
while we're testing that, everyone,
it. Yeah.
I do want to give a shout out to a friend of ours who had a campaign launch recently. Just want to give a shout out to Wes Hardman with Savage Sasquatch 1 through 3. So if you guys get a chance, head on over to Kickstarter and check it out. I have issues 1 and 2. Great book. It's really fun.
It is really, it truly
it's
is
really
fun. And you know, a lot of people know Wes from, because he's a super talented colorist, and this book will really surprise you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I backed it today, so I'm proudly backed.
There you go. Gorgeous book. So yeah, head on over to Kickstarter, check it out. Wes is a fantastic artist, colorist, writer. I mean, you can't go wrong. So yeah, check it out. And let me know your thoughts in the comments below. All right, guys, let's get down to business because we have not 1, but 2 great creators.
2, Jeff. You hear that? 2.
2.
2 pings only.
It's him
2
doing it.
pings. 2 pings. Jeff, would you like to introduce our next guest?
I think that Billy should introduce him with his echo.
All right, because why is the echo coming from me? I don't understand this. I have it plugged in now.
Are you still hearing an echo now?
Check 1. All right, let me log out and see.
Let's see if it's Billy.
Carry on without me.
Well, in the meantime, without further ado, returning to the show, we have Rolland Mann, and then as a new guest with another great book out, Miss Barbara Kallberg. How are you doing tonight?
Hi, I'm doing fine, thank you.
So glad to have you guys on the show. And you guys have something pretty cool going on because in your campaign, it's not 1 book, it's 2 books. Rolland, how did this madness happen?
So that's so exciting for me to tell you how it happened. So as you know, from the last time I was on here, I talked a little bit about, excuse me, spit doesn't like to be swallowed that way. I talked a little bit about the relaunch of Silverline, which was about 1 year ago today. Hey, Sid! And so when we launched the website last June, and almost immediately I started getting emails, people saying, hey, you know, will you look at my project? Will you look at this? Will you look at that? And of course, you know, I had already reached out to people like Sid, people like R.A. Jones, and said, hey, you know, I'm thinking about getting this thing back up together, you know, doing this stuff again. Print on demand makes it a whole new world. What do you think? And so, look at that. One of my students, hey, Chris. And so we just started putting stuff together, and then Alex Gallimore, who is the penciler on Cat and Mouse, he's a recent Kaalberg school graduate. I'm getting a slight echo. Is that just me? It is, maybe?
No, there's a reverb.
Okay.
Is it reverbing? Right. Yeah, this just started happening just a little while ago.
Anyway, so Alex Gallimore said, hey, we need a colorist or we need an anchor for this project. I'm like, yeah, you know someone? He goes, I just happen to know another Kaalberg school graduate. So Alex started reaching out to some of these Kaalberg school grads, recent grads, some of them, you know, a year, some of them more recent than that. And we just started putting projects together right and left. So suddenly we have so many cool projects going on. And I'm like, you know, we're not going to be able to kickstart all these if we don't start combining some of these together. So we literally have to take 2 books and offer them, or we're going to be just with our current slate, we're going to be kickstarting through 2022. So I looked at that as a very exciting problem to have. That's how it happened. JC, you're muted.
He was so excited. That he
Yeah.
made him.
That's it. I was just trying to see if the echo. I was just trying to see if the echo was me. It's not.
Yeah, I had it too, but that's nuts, man. So I got to tell you, man, you are like you're like becoming like a Kickstarter machine.
He is.
Well, so my initial plan, this goes back last year. My plan was like, hey, if we can, because you guys had Rockstar Polito on a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Last
if I
week.
could be like Brian last week, okay. It's like if I could be like Brian, okay. Brian he's a Rockstar Kickstarter, right? And so I'm like, Brian does them like clockwork. He does about 4 a year. And I'm like, he does them, he pumps them out, he delivers the product, and I think that's partly why Brian's so successful. I mean, he's got awesome product, but he delivers the product. And as you know, in this day and age and time where so many crowdfunding projects, we're still waiting on them for 2016.
Sure.
I think that's part of the secret formula. So I'm like, okay, if we could do one like Polito, if we could do one like 4 in a year, every 3 months, then we could get out, 4 new books, and that would be good for us. But yeah, it just ended up to where that didn't give us enough time to get all of our books kickstarted in a reasonable amount of time. So we said, all right, well, let's do it every other month, because our books, like Polito, ours are finished. So I could send you guys right now a PDF of Divinity and of Twilight Grimm. You could see them, you could read them, you can say, look, they're done. We're crowdfunding. What I need before I can go to print with them is I need all the names, right, for the thank you page. That's the only page that is not ready right now to send to the printer. Otherwise, I could send the whole book to the printer and they could print it tomorrow if I could pay for it, right? But obviously, I don't have the funds to do that. So what we do is we crowdfund, and we wait on the money from. I collect all the stuff up while we're waiting on the money from Kickstarter. And then as soon as we get the funds, usually my printer already has the files. I tend to send them to them before. So I get the money and I'd send them the money immediately, and they print them out pretty quickly. I have a really good relationship with the printer. Kablam Printing, digital printing, does all of our printing. And if you've done seen any indie books, they're fantastic.
Rolland, was that who printed Tiny?
It is. Yep.
And also Cat and Mouse?
Yep.
Wow, those were nice printing jobs.
Yes. Hey Billy.
Hey guys, how are you?
Hi, Billy.
Good to see you. What's up, Rolland?
Hey Billy, what's up?
Nothing
Teen
much,
sensation,
bud.
huh?
Teen
Now
sensation.
has the echo gotten any better?
Yes.
little.
I'm
Slightly,
not hearing
yes.
it now.
It wasn't me. I logged out
It's
completely.
All right, I'm gonna mute myself because I hear no echo.
I'm not hearing it now. So
I don't hear any echo. I'm gonna mute myself.
No,
You guys
it's good
talk. Frank, let me know if you hear any echo.
hey Frank,
Echo,
nice to meet you.
echo,
I'm rolling.
Echo.
Echo.
Nice to see Billy again.
Yeah.
You too. Good to see you.
Was there
I'm
echo?
still
Hey,
getting, I'm
Rolland,
still getting a little
a
echo.
man named Bo Smith.
Of course I know Bo.
Steven Scott Bo Smith. I talked to him earlier today. He says hi.
Oh, very cool, man. I haven't talked to him in so long.
Now, Barbara, so we've never
Yes.
had you on the show. Can you give us a bit about your work history, how you got into comics, your origin story per se?
Okay, well, I started in 1989 as an inker. I've inked for just about everybody. I spent 2.5 years on Impulse for DC. 2 of those years was over Craig Rousseau, and 6 months of that was over Ethan Van Sciver. I did a lot of work for Malibu Comics, did some work for DC. I've inked for 30 plus years. And I've got somewhere around 5,000 pages of inks.
Woo!
Wow.
But I keep
So-
wondering how she can have inked in the industry for 30 years, but she's only 29.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you for that.
Started, when she was 7 years old.
Yeah, that's right.
What went into inking?
Excuse me?
What made you get the process of inking for comics?
Oh, okay. Well, so I was a painter. I was actually pretty good with acrylics, but I was a good forger. But I didn't have a whole lot of my own original material. I could forge the hell out of anything. But obviously that's a little bit illegal. So I was reading comics, and I told myself, why don't I just take this brush and turn it to comic books and ink, because I was a good brush worker. I went out to San Diego in 1988, did everything wrong, but I sat in on a seminar with Dick Giordano, and it was fantastic. Went home and I practiced for a year and came back the following year and got a job. It was that easy for me.
What was the first book you worked on? The first book you
Oh boy. Actually, I lied through my teeth to get it. It wasn't actually inks. I did gray washes on Tiger X for Eternity Comics.
Wow.
Awesome.
And
Wow,
Chris
yeah.
Ulm asked, yeah, that's way back. Chris Ulm asked me if I could do gray washes, and I said, oh yeah, sure, no problem. Came home and go, what the hell are gray washes? So, I had to look it up, figured out what it was. They did it. They apparently didn't catch it, that I didn't know what the hell I was doing. But 2 issues later, they put me on 11 issues of Planet of the Apes for Adventure Comics. So I guess, and I did inking for that. So I guess they liked something.
I think that was the first place I saw your name.
Yeah.
It was
And I mean,
Kent
truthfully-
Burroughs, wasn't it?
Yes, Kent Burroughs, that's right,
Mhm.
Canadian. And truthfully, you know, I never claimed to be the best inker in comics, but I was a workhorse. I averaged at least 2 issues a month for 12 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and I never, ever missed a deadline. So I just had a good reputation, so.
So a little Easter egg for all of you diehard comic fans out there. One of my very first published stories was illustrated by Kent Burroughs. I did a backup story in Nexus, and a Judah the Hammer story. If you're a Nexus fan,
yeah,
you know,
baby.
yeah, you know Judah the Hammer. I did a Judah the Hammer story in Nexus number 70, and it was illustrated by Kent Burroughs.
No kidding.
No, you can't. Nope, I'm not
man.
kidding.
As big a fan as I am of yours, and as big a fan I am of Nexus, I totally forgot that.
It is not. I don't hide it, but it's a very little known.
And Judah is such a great character.
Yes, I loved Judah the Hammer. In fact, when it was done, I pitched them a little like, I'd like to do maybe a mini series. I'm like, yeah, no, we've already got plans. Okay. Yeah,
I remember when Steve Epting was drawing the Judah one shots at First Comics and telling Tom Mason, "You guys have got to get this guy before Marvel does."
Yep. I think MC Wyman ended up doing some apes too, didn't he? Barb, did you ink some?
Yes,
MC
he did.
Wyman? Yeah.
I did not ink him, but he did do apes
Yeah.
right after me, after I finished my 11 issue run.
Who was the guy who wrote a lot of the Planet of the Apes?
Charles Marshall.
Charles. Okay.
Yes.
Literally, he sat behind us on the plane on my way to my first San Diego. And I don't
Really?
know how we actually got talking,
guy.
because it wasn't like I was wearing comic apparel or anything like that. But
I
yeah.
I just ran across a picture of Kent and I the other day doing autograph signings for that. Ran across
And,
it.
and despite
so I can put it on the website.
and what's fun about the world we live in is, because there's not a whole lot fun about it right now.
Yeah.
But what is fun about it is that as long as literally we've traveled in the same circles, but the first time I met Barb was at the Malibu anniversary panel, the 25th
That's right.
Ultraverse anniversary.
Really?
Yeah.
Wasn't that fun?
Wow.
Yeah, it was. That was
was a blast.
obviously a highlight for me, since I sort of broke in being the fan, and that many of the Malibu guys were the people who helped me break in.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that was
nothing
moderating.
but-
That was a huge treat for me.
I have nothing but good things to say about Malibu. They were the best people to work for. They never treated me anything but as a strict professional. They threw as many superheroes at me as I wanted to ink, and that's exactly what I wanted.
Yeah.
I had a hard time getting superheroes out of Marvel. They'd give me Barbie. The DC would give me superheroes hand over fist. I inked over Rick Kallberg and Ivan Reis and Mel Ruby, Howard Porter, Joyce Chin, Scott Collins.
Just a bunch of nobodies.
Kevin West, Ed Venice. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm sure
Next year,
you know,
they make you look good.
JC probably caught on to this, right? But you know, it's not a huge secret, and Barb and I have talked about this a bunch. You know, one of the things I would really like to do with the Silverline 3.0 here is to recapture some of that spirit that that Malibu Comics, you know, had in the early '90s. Very much that spirit of independence that I just think was awesome. You know, as you know, Barb said she's had an awesome experience there. I did as well. It was an awesome experience for me. And so, you know, one of my personal goals is to try to kind of recapture. You can't bottle lightning, right? I mean, so it's impossible. But one of the things I want to hope to do is kind of recapture the spirit that Malibu had.
Yeah.
When Nile and I,
it's been a lot of fun.
Nile and I just did what was supposed to be a 1 hour panel with Dave Ulrich and Tom Mason and Chris Allman. It went 2 hours.
I watched it,
and we could have
Yep, I watched it too.
we could have easily gone 3.
Yep.
Oh, easily.
The great thing about it was, to me, the exciting thing was that those guys clearly still love this stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, and
these were my bosses.
And as
those guys were my bosses.
And as we go through time, that's a decreasingly small portion of our lives.
Yeah.
But it still holds.
Yeah.
And that's why it's amazing. So to hear you say that is pretty great. How would you see that? I mean, obviously you're not talking about recreating the company. You're talking about recreating the spirit of it.
Yes.
How do you see that playing out?
So one of the things that, and I don't know that this was ever a policy anywhere or not, but one of the things that Tom and Dave and Scott as well, Tom and Dave and Chris worked to really foster in the office was a spirit of, we're doing comic books. How fortunate, how lucky are we? Let's have a blast doing it, right? And so for me, it was always, now I anyone who knows me knows that I am not a morning guy, right? I'm a night owl. And, you know, if you tell me I've got to report to work at 7 a.m. or 8 a.m., my thoughts are like, oh, man, that is way too early. And so, you know, I cringe sometimes when I have 9 a.m. classes. It was never, ever, ever a struggle for me to get up and go to work at Malibu at 8 o'clock in the morning. Never. It was never, you know, I never struggled with the snooze button. I never was like, oh, no, not another day of work. No, it was always, I get to go make comic books. Mm-hmm. How cool is that? And so for me, that's what I'm striving to do. I'm striving to, and I'm working to kind of create a feeling of unity, of family within the Silverline team. I want it to be about us and not about, you know, one person. This is not a solo outing, right? It's about the team. And one of my core, for me, one of my core components is you got to be having fun. If you're not having fun with this, maybe Silverline is not where you ought to be. Maybe if you're unhappy with what you're doing, maybe, you know, I'm still going to love you, right? But you might want to go do something else because
you might be doing it wrong.
You might be doing it. I'm not going to say that.
And let me jump in here. I've been with Silverline from the very beginning, from the first Cat and Mouse. And I'm currently the CFO as well. Everybody's got any other talents, they get roped into helping out, basically. And I was a corporate accountant, so now I'm the CFO for Silverline. I've been doing a lot of inking for them, and when I decided that I wanted to throw my hat into the ring with a creator-owned book of my own, Rolland was like, well, sure, show me what you got, and we'll see what we can do. You know, he was totally open to it, and then about 5 months ago, I was like, I'm going to teach myself coloring. He's like, cool, we need colorists. So now I'm coloring a book too. I'm inking, I'm writing, I'm coloring, you know. So, and I mean, it's good because I decided to do the creator-owned thing a year or so ago. I mean, I was approaching 60. And I'm like, if I'm ever going to do this, I better get off my butt and do it. Because it's never going to happen if I don't grow some balls and actually throw my hat into the ring.
Mhm.
And
Wow, you're mixing
it's-
metaphors like crazy, but we
I
like
know.
that.
I'm like, no, please don't do that.
So, it's
I'm just
done.
imagining a little
I'm
testicle tree.
yeah.
Yeah, hanging.
Testicle tree.
So I'm 61 now, and I'm having the best time of my life.
That's
I'm
awesome.
having a blast.
Now, Frank and Nile and even Billy are younger. Billy's barely younger. But isn't it the coolest thing about the career path to be able to say what you just said? I was talking to John Snyder III about his adaptation of 8 Million Ways to Die.
Mhm.
And I said, how many people do we get to say have just done the best work of their career at age 57?
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
And so to be unrestricting yourself and saying, I'm going to tackle these new things at
Push the envelope.
at a point where a lot of people in their careers are just trying to keep their head down
Yeah.
to make retirement.
So,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think
So
it's
actually,
phenomenal.
I retired from my Muggle job at the end of the year, and so I'm completely retired from the real world, and I am just having a blast doing comics 24/7 again.
Oh, that's awesome.
That is awesome.
I'm in my third childhood.
One of the things,
Lucky
Barbara,
you.
one of the things you mentioned in sort of backhandedly by talking about how well you were treated and respectfully at Malibu, does that mean you've had the other experience?
I've got horror stories, but
I forgot to Barb has it. We've instigated a new policy at Silverline that Barb was responsible for, and it's all females when they go to conventions must wear miniskirts. That's Barb's policy, not mine.
yeah, yeah.
It's a joke. It's a joke.
That's an inside joke. I actually had a publisher want me to wear a miniskirt one time to be in his booth. Yeah.
Are you serious?
Oh,
That's what I
yeah.
said. That's
Oh,
what I
yeah.
a ton
said.
of stories. I've got a ton of stories like that.
I find this so
Oh
easy
my
to
God.
believe.
Well, that's why I won't work Billy's booth ever again.
Yeah.
Oh,
The thing is,
Damn,
the
Scott.
thing is,
Nice gams.
yeah,
Thank
the
you.
thing is, I've always been able to handle stuff like that. So I've been tough enough to see it through.
Yeah, well,
Hasn't really bothered me that much.
I'm just curious. I don't want to take away from the subject at hand, but I'm going to because I have ADHD again. But no, I just find it real striking. And I've been in the industry since '93. Well, '94. I was hoping to be in the industry in '93, and I did get my first cover from Malibu for the Protectors. I don't know if we had this conversation, Roland.
Yeah.
And
No,
but
we had the conversation when you weren't on the show, Billy.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
I remember Billy handing out ash cans of his comic book Ash.
No, I was an Ash. That's Jimmy.
Yeah.
That's Jimmy. Wow. I
Jimmy.
remember you guys.
But yeah, everyone gets us confused. But but no, but
You
I
sound so much alike too.
I went to San I went to San Diego in '93, and my job, the first work, the people that liked me was Brian Polito, and I don't remember who it was at Malibu.
Chris
And I
Olm,
got-
probably.
It was Chris
I got
Holm.
a cover out of it, and it was good enough for previews, but it didn't make it to the final. It never made it to the final. It was and it was okay. It wasn't that great of it wasn't really a strong cover, but I tried my best. And but anyway, but Barbara, that you were saying, and you mentioned it because you kind of peaked, made me cock an eyebrow when you said about that you were given when you broke in 1989, and it was Marvel that gave you a Barbie book.
Yeah, that was in the '90s, early '90s. But actually, I inked Amanda Connor.
Yeah, well, that's
on
actually
Barbie.
Amanda had that. I remember Amanda did our first branch off series was Tomo, and Amanda illustrated that. And I remember talking to her, and she was like, so she just did Gargoyle. She'd come off of, and
I
she
did that too with her too.
Oh, okay, and it looked beautiful. But I remember her telling me about they want to give me Gargoyles, which is fun, but they want me to do Barbie. Did you run into a lot of that?
Marvel.
That's what I mean. You're talking about having one of your publishers telling you wear a mini skirt when you come to his booth. I mean, was that
Yeah.
rampant?
Excuse me?
Was that really rampant in, say, like the mainstream? Because when I got in, like, you know, when Debbie and I, our San Diego was our first show, or Chicago, we got to meet a lot of the independent publishers because we were in the independent pavilion. I really didn't know anybody from Marvel and DC, and that was a lot more accepting environment, it seems. You know, there was a lot of women creators and stuff. But in the mainstream, no, huh? I mean, like an old boys club, it seems.
It was. I mean, Marvel, and I love Marvel. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I am an Iron Man girl all the way. I love the Avengers, you know. But they had a subtle type of sexism in which they would give me She-Hulk and Barbie and Disney. So it wasn't that anybody overtly came out and said anything. It's just that's all I would be offered for work. Whereas DC, I was, you know, doing Green Lantern and Hawkman and Primal Force. I did 17 issues of Primal Force and Impulse. So, you know, it was what it was. You know, I'm not going to bitch too much about it. I'm not a whiner.
Yeah,
it's kind of a theme though we've had with, like, you know, creators and kind of talking about past experiences, and not to knock Marvel, but it seems that, you know, everyone always like, oh, I did this for Marvel, but I did this for DC, and, you know, DC gave me more of this than Marvel would give me of this. And it just seems to more or not be kind of a theme.
It is. And I had great editors at DC. Kevin Dooley and Paul Kupperberg were my editors there. And when they finally left and they brought in new stables of editors, the editors brought in their own stable of talent. And I was kind of out the door then. But they were awesome to work with.
You weren't in the club?
I was this close to selling a Green Lantern story to Kevin Dooley.
Yeah, I did a lot of Green Lantern.
Do you know why I didn't buy it? Yes. I had just gotten hired by Malibu. And he just said, oh, I see you've been hired by Malibu. Good luck. Talk to you later. Oh, no, come on, dude. and it was only like an 8-page story, but I had gone through about 3 drafts of it for him. And his last note to me was like, hey, I see you've been hired by Malibu. Good luck. Talk to you later.
Oh, jeez.
I did one DC story. It was all the Blue Beetles.
Oh, really?
Oh, I like the Blue Beetles.
Yeah.
It was actually
Christmas?
Christmas with the Beatles.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
cool.
That's right.
I love Blue Beetle.
3 generations of 3-time losers versus the different Blue Beetles.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
That's
in
cool.
8 pages.
Wow.
Yeah, Lee Garbett drew it, and he rocked, man.
Yeah, that was
Cool.
terrific.
We'll have to find that. We'll have to find
DC
that.
Universe Christmas Special 2008.
There we go.
Oh, cool.
Or Holiday Special, I bet they called it.
Yeah,
I did a lot of holiday
2009?
specials.
What was that, Billy?
It wasn't 2009, Old Bean?
I believe it was 2008, Old Bean.
Okay.
Oh, you old beans.
Old Beans.
Let's talk about what really matters, and that's Silverline's double feature.
Let's talk about that.
Boom. Divinity #1 and Twilight Grimm #1.
Sweet.
So you are now at 103 backers. You have 10 days to go. So tell us about this campaign and the double feature that we have here.
Yeah, so I'll start a little bit, tell you about some Twilight Grimm, then I'll pass a baton to Barb about Divinity. But again, one of the reasons we're doing this is because we've got we've got. I have books already finished for the next Kickstarter, which is May, June, July, which will be July. Those books are also already finished. So I could have theoretically kickstarted 4 books this month, but we decided that was way too much.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but again, they're already finished. They're done. So in our just talking, we're like, do we just do 2 books? How do we make 2 books interesting? What are the links? You know, hey, do y'all remember the flip books? Yeah, we talked about a double feature. Remember how Captain America and Iron Man used to be in the both of them were in the story. So, you know, we kicked out around that. Ultimately, we decided to go with the flip book because we like the idea of both of the stories getting a cover, right? If we had gone the traditional Tales of Suspense with, you know, featuring Captain America and Iron Man, then we have to have one image or some kind of spliced image. So we decided to go with a flip book so that you get one cover on one side, you can read that story, flip the book over, and then you get the other cover on the other side. And it's just, you know, it's just a bigger, thicker book.
You can
So
get them individually.
You can.
But you can
you're-
also buy. But the flip book has been selling the best.
Yes, it has been. I think everybody kind of thinks it's a, and that's what we hoped. Everyone was like, "Oh, that's a cool idea." You don't see a lot of flip books anymore. It's not that no one's ever heard of them, but you don't see a whole lot of them anymore.
One of the things about that is that we're told that the retailers hate them, and to me, every fan you talk to, the first one they always go back to the Magnus and Rye flip books from Valiant in the '90s, and that was the introduction of Rye. And it really worked. And I don't know why people wouldn't like these. I know the fans do.
Well, JC, we in that Ultraverse group that's on Facebook, they talk about the room flip books. They talk about those frequently, and so, I get that the retailers don't particularly like it, but we have a retailer level in which they can get the individual books and not the flip books. So we do have retailer. All the Silverline Kickstarters have retailer levels that they can, because we love retailers. We want them to be a part of it. But the flip book is geared towards the fans and not the retailers. Mm-hmm. So Twilight Grimm reunites another cool creative team. R.A. Jones reunites with Rob Davis, and then anybody remembers those names. R.A. and Rob did Seminar together. They did Merlin. They did some other projects, but those were names kind of like Baron and Rude that you would see. R.A. Jones and Rob Davis. They're joined by Mickey Clausen providing the colors, and Mike W. Belcher, who did the letters for it. Twilight Grimm is a story of a world in which it's divided in between the haves and the have-nots. The haves are all the humans. The have-nots are the vampires, along with some lower-class humans. There is a quiet peace between the two. There's a wall, like the Berlin Wall. There's a wall separating the two, and there's a quiet peace that's on the verge of being broken. The vampires are pretty much held at bay, but they ignore all human laws. The humans in the have-not are protected by that man right there, and his name is Twilight Grimm, and he is the one who basically battles the vampires in the Blood Zone there. And this is the first issue of a 4-issue miniseries. Rob is already, I'm not sure exactly, but Rob's already, the script for number 2 is finished, and Rob's already about 10 pages deep into the second issue. So it'll be ready to kickstart in no time. But that's the Twilight Grimm side of it. So the Divinity side of it, Barb, here's your baton.
Okay. Divinity. Divinity is a story of an 11-year-old girl who develops mysterious healing powers after a near-death experience. And when her parents are mysteriously killed, her brother, who is a sergeant in the Marines, is called home on a hardship discharge. He's 13 years older than she is, so they really don't know each other that well. They're actually half-siblings. So he's been put in charge of this 11-year-old girl, and I know that Billy knows this. The slogan, USMC slogan. What is that, Billy?
What, Semper Fi, Semper Fidelis? Always
no,
faithful?
Slogan: improvise, adapt, and overcome.
Overcome, yeah. So
that's gonna be put to the test when he's put in charge of a tween, because you got Marine versus tween. So that's going to be a problem. Now, he figures out that the deaths of his parents, his dad and his stepmom, are actually very suspicious, and things start to happen, and they end up having to go on the run to escape evil forces who want to get their hands on Divinity. And eventually along the way, they're going to hook up with another soldier friend of his, Olivia Barnes, and they are going to be the 3 main characters of the story. And their job is, it's actually going to be basically a road show down after the first issue. Think of like The Prisoner or The Incredible Hulk, the TV shows, where you have an overarching villain, but then you have these subplots along the way where you've got smaller villains. That's kind of the basis of my thinking for this is you're going to run across smaller villains as they're running from the evil cabal. You're gonna have religious fanatics and the pharmaceutical companies or the drug lord who wants to pimp thinning out her powers out, basically, stuff like that. So it's got no shortage of plot lines that I could invest in. But the overarching one is this evil cabal that want to get their hands on her to use her for their own means. They've got their fingers in all the pies, basically. Mm-hmm. So you've got your action, but then you've got the subplot of these guys have to learn how to become a family because they really don't know each other very well.
Now, did you draw this?
I did not. I inked it. Rolland said, "Okay, this sounds like a good story. Go find your penciler." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I'm searching around for pencilers on Facebook and DeviantArt, which is a real cesspool. And I was about a month into looking for a penciler, and I got a friend request on Facebook from this young Mexican fellow named Alex Sarabia, and he private messaged me and he says, "I'm such a huge fan. It is one of my fondest desires to work with you someday." And so it made me curious, and I flipped over to his Facebook page, and I'm going, "Oh my God!" I PM'd him back, and I said, "How about right now?" And that's how I got hooked up with him. He's fantastic. He's doing some work from work Kevin Van Hook for at the moment.
Oh, good.
Yeah, he's really good. And I lured Steve Matson out of retirement. I don't know if you guys remember. He used to work for DC. He did Boris the Bear.
Yep. Did a run on Green Lantern.
Yeah. I contacted him and he goes, "Oh, I got out of that a long time ago. Everybody's doing it digitally now, and so they've left me in the dust." And I said, "So now I can say it's hand colored. I mean, how special is that nowadays? Yeah. Nobody hand colors anymore. Now that's special. It used to be nobody wanted that. Everybody wanted digital, but now it's boutique."
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And he's got we have as one of the one of a kind reward tiers the original colors to the cover.
It's that cool.
Yeah, that it's hand colored. I mean, it is literally one of a kind, like original. I mean, it's original artwork, right?
Oh yeah, it really is. Janet Jackson sold some of her stuff from Defiant and Valiant, and Noelle Giddings. I was just messaging with her, and she's just putting up some of her milestone stuff, and that stuff's treasures.
Oh, yeah. it really is.
Absolutely.
And particularly since it's all done on computers now,
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm still old school, by the way. When I ink all.
Barbara, what does he work on? Does he print them out on Bristol or something and colors it on that, like a Xerox of it, or?
I don't know. Yeah, I think he prints it out, and I think he used markers and watercolor. I'm not sure.
But I'm not sure what he prints it on. I haven't thought to ask him.
Yeah, because we did our first two issues. Yeah, our first two issues were colored except for the painted books.
There it is, right there.
We literally got nice Bristol and printed them out, and just like they use the Doc Martin dyes and
that's it.
The different ways of doing it range from what Billy just said to just like acetate overlays and different things like that.
Right.
And there's all sorts of different results that it produces. But I'd love to know what his process is.
Yeah,
I was able to round up a cadre of old friends who helped kick in some original art. I had Jeff Johnson and Kevin West and
by the way, how cool to get Jeff Johnson, man.
Oh,
I remember his Ultraverse stuff so well, and he's done nothing but improve since then.
Yeah. That was one of the first pieces to go was his, because we made a fantastic team, and Mel Ruby also did the cover, the Kickstarter cover for me. Mm-hmm. And then he did the Kickstarter with his inks, the cover, and I colored it. But then I also took the pencils and I inked up a version to sell. So there is two versions of that actually. There's the cover version that with his inks, and there's the original piece that we're selling with my inks.
So what's the story on the signature card on the $25 version?
So that's so one of the things this is kind of an experience trying to going through a couple of different Kickstarters, trying to figure it out. So one of the things we're trying to keep costs down, obviously, and I could not come up with a way to send out the books to be signed by the people and be able to afford all of that. So we said, you know what, let's just do signature cards. I can send out a trading card size card to Barb and to RA and to get signatures there. Postage is not terrible, and it's still an autograph that they're going to get with the book. So it's not an autograph on the book itself, but it's a special autograph for the Kickstarter that's going to be on a trading card sized card. If that makes sense.
It does. The only reason I asked is because I just pledged at that level.
Oh,
thank
very
you.
cool.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you.
And I got to say something about RA here. The Divinity was my characters. It was my plot, my idea, my creation. And I'm a good writer, but I have never scripted a comic book, and that is a completely different animal than just writing. Okay, so I needed help with that. So I went to RA and I said, I need some help scripting, and he had some good ideas of his own. So he ultimately runs everything past me and gets my okay if he's going to make any changes. But he's got plenty of good ideas of his own that I like as well. So it's been a great collaboration with him. But ultimately, it's my characters.
Well, that's really cool to hear because his name was on the credits of a lot of great books back when.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I think you guys having him involved is a big plus to me.
Yeah, good.
I
I'm glad
love
to hear
RA.
that. Yeah, and anyone who's ever had the opportunity to meet RA knows that he is just, he's an Oklahoman. As far as I know, he was born, never moved a day out of Oklahoma, never lived anywhere else except for where he lives there. He's just a real down-to-earth guy.
I may have to revise my statement since I'm a Texan.
That's right. Yeah, I forgot about Yeah. I should have just said Southerner, right? Yeah, that would have been okay with you. Yeah. I mean, he's just a down-to-earth guy. He's always super friendly. He's, when I was his editor, when I, worked with the Protectors, he was, he never had his, and I can't say, hey, Martin, I can't say this about all of the writers that I worked with there, but he never had his ego involved in it. It was never, well, I am writing this and this is the way it's going to be. No, it's like, hey, man, that's a great idea, Rolland. Why don't we do this and that? And he was just so easy to work with.
He is. He's very easy to work with. A lot of give and take.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, the Protectors is a great example because the Protectors, given that it wasn't an Ultraverse title, could have come off as an also ran. I mean, it would have been real easy. At a lot of companies, it would have.
Yeah.
And it never felt phoned in. It never felt like, oh, we're settling for second best here. It always felt like this was getting the person's best attention.
Yeah. Yeah. And we were doing, we were working hard to deliver good books. And like I said, RA is quite the trooper. Like he was so easy to work with. And again, he's one of the first guys when decided to kick Silverline back up. He was one of the first guys I reached out to, and he said, I haven't done comics in a decade, but if you're bringing back Silverline, he goes, I would be honored to be involved. So,
he does good research too. He's not military, but he looked at the military aspect of. I'm a military mom, so.
All right.
Thank
you for your service.
Thank you. My son's a master sergeant with the Air Force, 16 years now. So, so I have a lot of experience with that. But it's for me that's comes second nature. But RA was willing to look into aspects of the Marines because I'm Air Force. Sorry.
So now we think that, and I'm not a math guy, so don't anyone hold me to this math. I think that if we get about 175 backers, that will make us. So I'm hoping that everyone who's listening right now and who listens to the recordings later, because I know there's a whole bunch of people who do that. I'm one of those who have a tendency to do that because it's hard for me to work my schedule. I'm hoping that they'll go check it out and consider backing. Number one, there are two really good books, two brand new books by super talented creative teams. You get in on the ground floor. There's some cool rewards. And again, I think at 175 backers, that's not really a lot. I got 5,000 people on my doggone Facebook friend list.
Here's the thing that I want to say as an observer who's supported a couple of years before.
Yes, you have. Thank you.
The bang for the buck is pretty incredible. That you don't have to go to some exorbitant level to get some great stuff. It's very accessible. It really is very fair and has in mind. There's people that only have so much money on Kickstarter, particularly in the time we're in right now, and the things aren't overpriced. They're not exorbitant. They're very fair, and at the same time, you're going to feel like you underpaid for what you're getting.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of feel that way. I kind of feel that it's probably a little more than you would pay. Because I've heard some people say, "Oh, well, that seems to be a lot." I'm like, "Yeah, if you saw me at the convention, you're not going to get the Kickstarter exclusive cover because that's only for the Kickstarter exclusive backers, right? But you'll get the book and probably be a little bit cheaper. But I think most people who go to crowdfunds know I'm going to pay a little bit of a premium price, and I'm going to get the product. But I'm also trying to help the creators get this done. I'm trying to help them, make it happen."
And one of the things about that's just dead on is that you're coming at this, and you mentioned Brian Polito, and obviously it's really an advantage when you're starting with the book done or really close to done. And to me, that's the easiest ones to sign on. I have very little discretionary income for this kind of thing right now.
Yeah. And that's Silverline across the board. That's kind of our motto. It's all done. All the books are done beforehand.
Well, Barbara, I think that's key to this kind of thing, because let me tell you, absolutely true to comic book fans. We want to belong to something. We want to be part of a cause.
Yeah.
You look at like how easy it was to get behind the core audience in as the Ultraverse, going back to
that's
that.
Right. Yeah.
And
as the accountant, that's a good business model for me.
but it is. You're ready to go. The stuff's ready to do, and you need this much money to print it.
Yeah.
And then if suddenly somebody drops extra hundreds of thousands of dollars on you, you guys can roll in it.
That's right. Yeah.
But the real thing is that you're asking people to participate and get you over the finish line.
Yes.
Where you've carried the ball 97 yards.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't crush my dreams, people.
Yeah. Yeah. And I agree with you 100% there, and that's one of the reasons I try to say it frequently is to remind people that our books are done. We're not gonna say, hey, if we get extra money, we're gonna add extra pages. None of that. I've seen that in Kickstarters, and I'm like, no, and I'm not slamming anyone who does that. I'm just saying, no. Here's our book. It's done. What we need you to do is to help us get these books printed and shipped out to you. Here's what we need.
You do this Kickstarter. We're shipping in July.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
That's incredible.
That's what. Hey, Nile? Did you see the question here from Heroinberg? It's a really good question.
What do you say?
With this comment about what Barbara's done?
Yeah,
I know Heroinberg. Yeah.
Hi. Yes. That's who drew the awesome portrait? That was Mobius.
Wow. Really?
Mobius. Yeah, one year at San Diego Comic-Con, somebody broke into my hotel room and cleaned me out.
Oof.
And,
no way.
And everybody felt so bad for me. I never had to buy another meal for the entire convention. Maggie Thompson was especially nice. She fed me every morning. And Mobius did a free sketch of me.
Wow, that is so cool.
That is cool.
I had never heard that before, and that is worth being ripped off for. That is awesome.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah, very much. I have the original, so yes.
Yeah, actually, I think this was the week I was supposed to actually meet Herenberg. because I think it was either this coming weekend or last weekend. I was supposed to go to Three Rivers in
Thanks, John.
Thank you, John. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, John.
I was supposed to go to the Three Rivers in Pittsburgh. It would have been my first ever. You know, JC, you'll appreciate this. I'm a Southern boy. I have not done very many conventions north of the Mason-Dixon line. So I am desperately trying to reach out to conventions in all these Yankee states and say, hey, look, I've never been to Pennsylvania, invite me. I've never been to Ohio, invite me to a show. I've never been to Illinois, you know. I did go do Chicago Comic Con in like 91.
And he lives so far south, and I live in Wisconsin, so we haven't done a con together yet.
Yeah, we're still searching for one that's in the middle we can both go to.
Roland missed the San Diego with the 25th anniversary.
I did. I so desperately wanted to be there.
That was such a good one.
It was great. Such a fun time.
Roland, let me tell you, I say this as somebody who grew up in Pittsburgh and in the South.
Yes.
It's an oddly friendly city for the North.
Pittsburgh is.
Absolutely.
Oh,
wonderful. Well, I mean, obviously I'm quite biased.
Right.
But the reason I wouldn't have guessed. The reason I was at home in Fort Worth was that I was at home. I was at home in Pittsburgh. The people are very friendly, and it is a small town. It's like only the 60th largest in the United States.
No, I didn't know that.
But it ranks in the top 2 or 3 in terms of places to live all the time.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Well, I will tell you this. They have already issued the invite for me to come in 2021.
Well, now I got to go.
Yep. So I'm already slated to go for 2021, and I'm very much looking forward to it.
But just to prove I'm utilitarian for Frank.
well, I'm the college ball guy, right? So I'm wearing my Arkansas Razorback T-shirt today.
It was funny. I was.
I have a Dodgers jersey. I have a Brooklyn Dodgers.
Are you really, Billy?
Yeah.
We're Cardinal fans. Cardinal fans here.
I was texting with Steve Jeppy, and I said, "Look, Steve, I finally found a New York team I could support."
Oh, we're Cardinal fans in this house.
So well, is it true, Roland, when you called Three Rivers Con, they said, "We remember the last time one of your kind."
That's right.
Remember what happened to you guys? Remember what happened the last time you guys tried to come to Pennsylvania?
I promised them I'd leave my musket in the house.
You got to go if you go to Three Rivers. Oh, you're going to be in Pittsburgh area there, right?
Yeah.
Are you driving or are you flying in?
I'm flying. I'm going to fly in.
Okay, because if you've ever been to Gettysburg, it's possibly my favorite town city in the right, isn't it?
It's humbling.
Yes.
Billy, I am so depressed to tell you this. I have been to almost every Civil War battlefield in the Western Theater. I have been to 0 battlefields in the Eastern Theater.
Well, that's what the whole war was.
Not if you're Arkansan. No, the war was in your backyard, right?
Right.
I would love to go to Gettysburg.
Right, Barbara. It is very humbling, but the city is amazing. Like, we go like just to spend a weekend because of just the they have bed and breakfasts and the old homes, right? And the haunted Gettysburg and great restaurants and for Pennsylvania and for the North, it's a pretty friendly town. I'd have to say.
It absolutely is. And the thing that I want to caution Roland and anybody else from the South is always stay away on the 21st of the month where they're allowed to shoot Southerners.
And I'm a union gal, so
it's legal, right?
It's only on the 21st.
Of every month?
Every month.
You gotta go to one of my favorite battles. I don't know how you could say that.
One of your favorite battles?
I know.
No, Billy, I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
The battle of Little Round Top.
Sure. Yeah.
No, that's a huge one.
Right? And you can go there and you're sitting there and we
could see it.
We took soil, we took rocks all from there, and you can see where the
that's where you picked up that neighbor kid.
Yes. He's actually, I don't know where he is right now.
He's still dressed in period clothing.
Yeah.
I can't watch
poor reenactor.
what's the name of the movie? Gods and Generals.
Mhm.
It
Okay.
has the Gods and Generals and Gettysburg without getting a little teary there when I see Pickett's charge.
Oh yeah, Pickett's chart, and that's what he said when he said General Pickett. Would he say
Reform your division?
Yeah,
Sir, I have no division.
and he just heartbreaking. And Jeff Daniels was amazing as Chamberlain.
Oh, he was
One of the
awesome.
things-
Right.
One of the things we get into anytime you talk about that is it's just Americans versus Americans.
Yeah.
Misguided as though
It's a sibling
it
fight.
was. It was horrendous.
I'm a blueberry, and I get along with Rolland just fine.
And I look at it like, I had relatives, ancestors that died in
I did too.
the Andersonville prison as
Yep.
prisoners of the South because they treated the POWs so poorly.
Wow.
And yet, there's also a Confederate general named J.C. Vaughn. Did you know that, Billy?
I did not know that.
I did not know that.
Strangely enough, I believe it was a battlefield promotion because I think he was a colonel up until that point.
Wow, that's cool.
But that said, thank goodness we're talking about comic books and not
Right.
each other.
Right.
Yeah.
So another, and I'm going to segue and then come right back. My ancestors, I had ancestors on both sides. The Manns, we had Manns in Arkansas, and we had some Manns up in Illinois. But our friend Jerry Bingham is a direct descendant of General Meade.
Really?
Oh, really?
Right? How cool is that?
Jerry is one of the most talented painters and cover artists to ever work in comics. But he was also really great at interiors too.
Yes.
But his transition to Western fine art has been breathtaking.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's definitely the Fort Worth influence talking there.
Yeah. Yeah. He does some very, very awesome stuff. Now Jerry and I have been friends for years, of course, and he'll post something and I'll say, Jerry, man, I love this piece. I love this piece that you've done, but his uniform is blue and it should be gray.
That's funny.
Yeah.
If anybody saw my Facebook post for Memorial Day, you'll see I mentioned that I've had relatives in the Civil War, World War II.
That was really impressive.
Yeah.
That's really phenomenal.
One of the 38 whacks that's
Woohoo, 105 now.
died in World War II. Oh,
70
cool.
to go, right?
Yep.
You had a relative who was a whack that died?
She was one of 38 whacks who died in World War II. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Her name was Dottie Nichols. Dottie Nichols. She was my great aunt.
It's not cool that she died, but it's cool that you know that.
Yep. I also know those stories behind
as a college instructor. It depresses me how little students know today about their families.
I know quite a bit.
It's just depressing.
I know the story behind the Union soldiers in the Civil War too. I'll tell you that sometime.
Yeah. And see, I can go back, I could sit here and tell you my father, my grandfather, I could name about 10 generations and give you approximately the year that they were born. But so many of my students, you'd be surprised at the number who can't name their grandparents.
I had two uncles that were brothers that fought in the Battle of the Bulge, and one of them was
my grandfather was there.
Yeah, and they liberated the death camps. One of them came back. He was never right after that. Yeah. He was never right after seeing that.
What do you know what they were in? What units or anything like that?
I'd have to ask my dad. I've forgotten. It's written down somewhere.
I was going to say my grandfather was in the 57th Infantry Division. I've got his old war annuals. I don't know what they're called. They just look like high school annuals, but they're the history of that was issued by division.
Oh, okay.
I've got his regiment and his division.
See, my dad served in Germany at the same time as Elvis.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that a coincidence? I don't think so.
Did you get to meet him or no?
No. He was serving near, but he never met him. But that was during peacetime. My son's been in theater 5 times, so that's
wow. God bless. What's your son doing in the Air Force, if you don't mind me asking?
He's a weapons specialist. He's with the F-16s.
Oh, cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and now he's full-time guard here in Madison, and he works on base every day. And they've just decided to use Truex as one of the bases to bring the new F-35s in. So
Nice.
that's exciting.
Nice.
Yeah,
Oh, very
he's
cool.
he's a 20-year man, probably more.
Nice. Good for
Good
him.
for him.
We appreciate everything he's doing for this country and keeping us safe.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I'm proud of him.
And again, I want to thank you guys for coming on because we're out of time now. But I want to thank you guys for coming on the show. Again, as we do for all indie creators, self-publishers, we'll continue to spread the word through our channels on our Twitter, our Instagram, our Facebook to help get you guys where you need to go. Anything we can do, and we really appreciate you coming on. And I hope you'll come on again with your next set of books.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us, and I'll be in touch with Frank to make sure he knows the next time we've got one going. Get scheduled.
Oh, anytime.
The thing about Silverline is you're going to get plenty of bang for your buck. So.
I just tell you from experience as a supporter, that is true.
Mm-hmm. I've heard a lot of good things, to be completely honest. A lot of great reviews on the books, and just that you get your bang for your buck, and keep doing it. Keep on growing it and keep it going. It's great. I love it. I love what so many creators are doing right now. That unfortunately, like mainstream stuff is just so.
Well, that's just it.
Yeah.
How many times can you tell the same story?
Yeah.
A lot.
They don't even tell stories anymore.
A lot. Yeah.
But Barbara, that's another thing. It shows that of how little they consider or deem their creators when these companies that have made hundreds of millions of dollars, and that's just
owned by corporations with freaking trillions of dollars. They in the entertainment industry
to not work after 2 weeks of comic shops being closed.
Yeah. Let's reboot this character for the 45th time.
Oh yeah.
I know what will solve everything. New number ones.
Gee, what a great idea!
An instant classic.
One of my all-time favorite things was the first Ambush Bug miniseries.
Oh yeah.
And every issue it said next issue when Titans clash.
Yeah,
that's what we need. We need a little bit of more of that today.
I agree.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much again for coming on, and we
Thank you
really
for having
appreciate
us.
it. And keep us in the loop. And everyone out there, if you can, remember to take a look and check out Silverline double feature, Divinity #1 and Twilight Grimm. It's a flip book. We love flip books.
We need more.
We need more, and we're seeing more and more of them, which is great. So get on the bandwagon. If you can back it, back it. If you can't, then share it. Share it on your social media. You may have 1, you may have 20, you may have 50 people that'll back this.
And listen,
share.
Listen, that's absolutely it, because that's how you get the word out. That's how these things succeed. Share it. Look,
Hey,
Lee Ditzworth will share it.
If Lee likes it, you know it's good.
Thank you, Lee.
Lee seal of approval.
Lee seal of approval. So, all right, everyone, have a great night. Again, Barbara, thank you for coming on the show. Roland, thank you for coming on the show. JC,
Absolutely.
thank you for popping in. Frank, amazing as always. You're an amazing gentleman.
Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Nice to see Billy and JC again.
Yeah, you guys look great. It's good to talk to you. It's fun.
Yeah, and once you're on, you're always welcome. Come on. If you see a promo for someone you'd love to chat with or pop on for a little bit, just shoot us a message. Let us know. We'll be happy to send you a link.
Cool.
Or if you ever just want to hang out and join a stream, let us know. And we'll be happy to have you guys on. And to our audience, Lee, Herwinberg, James Allen, we had some newcomers come in from Facebook. We've been multi-streaming. Fruit Bat popped in tonight. Man, just a great crowd, great questions, great comments. And
click the likes.
What's that?
Yeah.
Click the likes.
Yeah,
like,
click the
share,
like
subscribe.
button and make sure to subscribe. Click the notification so you know when we're live, when we post up some new recorded content. And we will see you all Thursday. Tomorrow night, we may or may not have a show. Our guest may have to reschedule, so we're not going to say names just because we want. It's
Billy,
a great one. Billy, don't say anything. Thursday, we have Amanda Connor on, and we'll be
Sweet.
highlighting her career and talking with her about all the amazing stuff she's done. And that will be Thursday. And Friday, we'll have an announcement up for another special lunch episode.
Yep, 12 o'clock at lunch, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
What's for lunch?
Italian.
Italian, nice. Look at that.
Look at that.
It's almost as if you were ready for
Niall,
that.
right? Niall and I are listening, and Barbara's like, "Oh yeah," and and I had relatives who fought in the Civil War, and Roland's like, "Oh yeah," and we, I have relatives who fought in the French and Indian Wars, and Niall and I and all those other 20th century Italian kids of Italian immigrants, like, yeah, my father came out. Yeah, they were making sauce in New York City in 1930. Yeah.
They got here in 1919, and that's where my history starts.
Yeah.
They don't talk much about back home. It was like, I came here, this is my life now, this is where it begins. And
that's interesting.
That's how the story goes. Welcome to New England.
Yeah.
Wow. See, I'd be asking all those questions.
Well, I got to
why?
I know we're running late, but I was thinking today of how really fortunate I was. And Niall, I don't know if you had this experience, but like my grandfather is Italian from Italy, and my whole family's Italian. But it was just that had that the heritage was all a part of everything. Like every Sunday, the Italian dinner, I could still smell I was cleaning the house and I smelled my grandfather's sauce, and my wife's like, "Oh, he came to visit you." But I just remember it. We were real typical Italian Americans, even stereotypical, I guess, if you will. Like my grandfather would be sitting at the end of the table with a V-neck T-shirt on, with his big gallon and a half of Gallo wine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Red.
It was great. It really was. It's really special. So,
oh yeah, holidays. What's sad though is unfortunately, like in my family, a lot of that has died off. We're not holding up with the traditions anymore. Christmas was massive. Like I remember just being like, who eats this? Like how much food? Dude, this is insane. Like I just had appetizers and I'm stuffed. It was 7 courses of appetizers.
You have 2 little ones. You can recreate these traditions or make new ones.
We're trying to, but I can't get to like this. I don't know. We're kind of just creating our new tradition based on the old.
Just do it.
That's
what
we're
doing. Is your
doing.
wife Italian?
What's that?
Is your wife Italian?
Oh yeah, she's Sicilian.
Oh, so yeah, see, that's what we are.
Don't get her mad. Please don't get her mad. Don't get her mad.
Don't get her. My wife is Polish.
I love you, honey.
I love you so much. I love you so much. Did you hear that? No, she's good at it.
You got to start making your own raviolis and stuff like that. That's what we got to do.
That's what we got to do.
I just started cooking with this whole coronavirus thing, and I never cooked. And so Debbie and I have been cooking. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I love cooking.
Like once a week, it's fun.
Yeah, you say that now that your boys are older.
Yeah. That's true. No, but we just cook it. It's fun. It was like, now what do I do? And I'm chopping up onions and all stuff like that. I never did any of that.
Learn new
He
skills.
just likes it because he pretends he doesn't know what he's doing, so then his wife has to come from around, and it's like the whole scene goes. He's like this.
Oh, how do I do this, honey?
Yeah,
the whole ghost thing.
Goes like this. It's so sticky and weird. It's like,
starts playing the music of ghosts, right?
It starts playing. And then she's like,
the only difference, Billy.
Yeah, like 30 years ago, and now she's like, get away from me.
Billy, the only difference is it's Mike Renzini singing.
Yeah,
it's Mike Renzini behind him.
Oh, I had Renzini to serenade us. Oh, sorry. All right,
everyone.
I ruined this whole stream. You guys are great. Congratulations. Keep
Thank
up.
you so much.
Great luck. The best of luck with it, and we look forward to having you guys on again.
Sounds
Thanks
perfect.
for having us.
Thank you so much.
Night, everybody.
All right, have a good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good night.
Thanks, guys.